What's up, world? This your boy Ghetto D, aka the Dice Roller. You can find me on YouTube under Don Gibson. If you want to hear a lot of my music, go to YouTube and go to the search engine and type in Don Shay Gibson. That's DonShagibson. I promise you a whole bunch of my music will pop up. This is a promise, I ain't lying to you just to gas you up. This is real talk. Well, I came here today to give y'all a video about how I started rapping and just to tell y'all a few things that y'all probably didn't know about me. I thought it would be interesting for y'all to hear this, so if you want to hear it, then cool. If you don't want to hear it and you just want to hate, then y'all don't really have to listen to this video. And my advice to y'all is, y'all can leave and do what y'all do best. Y'all can leave and go suck a bag full of chupacabra cocks. Well, anyway, let me go ahead and just get back to this video and tell y'all how I started. Well, I started rapping at 5 years old. And the reason I started rapping at 5 years old is because I was very interested inside of music at an early age. And I had a whole bunch of cousins that all used to link up at my grandma's house. The address was 808. That was the address. I'm not going to give y'all the street name, but the address was 808. And every single time, all the kin folks would just link up at 808 and they would make music. They had a little tape player and they had all their stuff like written down and stuff. So what they would do is they would put on the beats and they would grab their rhymes and they would just record themselves. And I would sit back and I would watch that. Like, I enjoyed that. I could watch that all day long. You know, I was a big fan of music. The only thing that I really listened to back in the day was Tupac. I was a big Tupac fan. I really was. I was a big Tupac fan because my older brother was a big Tupac fan. And not only that, Tupac music was the only rap music that I really felt at the time. I felt like it was just the realest thing ever. And I was young then. Like, I was real young. And to this day, Tupac is still my favorite rapper. And I feel like no man alive at any time will ever be better than Tupac. That's just how I feel, and you can't change my mind. Well, anyway, I'm gonna get back to the topic. Well, my cousins, they would all rap and they would be so good at it, you know what I mean? And I would sit back and watch, and I would sit back and just try to learn, some stuff that they would do and how they would do it. And I'd be like, man, I love this. So, but the thing that I did was, I had a whole bunch of rhymes myself, but I just didn't tell anybody. I would sit inside of my room when I went home and I would hide all my rhymes. You know, I would make these songs, but nobody knew about it. I didn't tell anybody because, to be honest, I really wasn't ready for that, and I didn't think that I was that good, to be honest. So I would sit up there and just make these rhymes and secretly hide them underneath my bed and just not tell anybody about it at all, like I really wouldn't. But one day, you know, I decided to come out of my shell a little bit. I started telling people that I make music. Like, the first person I told was one of my cousins. This is a cousin of mine. For a point of time, he had moved to Atlanta, but then he had moved back to Victoria. So I told him, I said, hey, cuz, you know, I rap. You know, I started rapping. You know, I really ain't really showed nobody yet. I mean, I've told people, but I haven't really showed anybody anything. You know, I was a nervous wreck showing anybody because I just felt like I wasn't that good. Well, he was like, well, let me hear something, kinfolk. Let me hear what you got. So, you know, I came out of my shell and I showed him. At the time, I was making music, but I really wasn't rhyming like that. I was only rhyming every once in a while. So, you know, I rapped it to him and he heard it. And he was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, kinfolk. He goes, I feel like that was real good. I feel like it was really good. But one thing that you need to do is you need to go back on your rhymes and you need to fill in some things that need to rhyme, because you got a whole bunch of stuff in your rhymes that don't rhyme. And that's the point of rap music. If you don't rhyme on a lot of your stuff, it's gonna sound like you just did a whole song full of talking. And I didn't get mad, you know, I sat down and I listened to him as he schooled me on it. So I was sitting there thinking, you know, I was like, what can I do to fix this? I didn't get mad, but to be honest, that cousin helped me out a lot. That's my cousin Omar King, aka Big O. So to this day, I still thank him for that, because I'm glad I'm not 32 years old still rapping that same way. Not able to even make a rhyme or nothing like that. Nope. My rhymes is on point now. And to be honest, I thank my kinfolk, Big O, for real. And that's real talk. Because I don't know what my music would sound like to this day if he never told me that. So that's something I needed to hear. And that ain't something that I ever got mad at. To be honest, I respect that. And I appreciate him with everything in me for that. Well, you know, time goes by. I start getting a little bit older, so my rhymes getting a little bit more serious, you know. Before you know it, I go to school one day. This is like inside of 6th grade, 6th or 7th grade, somewhere around there. This is around that time. You know, I'm way serious with the rhymes. Like, my rhymes are kind of on point now. I just been writing like crazy. I got all kinds of songs. Well, I got a homeboy that I didn't know him at first at this time, but we was inside of the lunch, and I happened to see him. This is before I actually met him. There was a group of dudes around like the cafeteria, and he had a circle around him. He was at the lunch table freestyling. There was another guy, he was tapping on the table making a beat. He was sitting at the table, he was freestyling, he was just like going off, like straight from the head. I was looking at this, I was like, man, what is that big crowd over there? At first I couldn't see anything, so I didn't know what was going on. I'm thinking a fight going on or something, but it wasn't no fight going on. I looked, and everybody's smiling, and everybody laughing, and everybody just so cheerful. And I just happened to look, and I say, man, is that a dude over there rapping? And he was, but he was freestyling straight from the head. But the first thing that I said was, how in the hell did he remember his rhymes that he wrote from his head? How did he remember all that? Then I got to thinking, I was like, I don't think he remembered that. I think he just straight rapping what he's seeing from his mind. And the reason why I figured that out, because everything that was going on around him, he was straight rapping about that. He was rapping about stuff that just couldn't be rehearsed, so you know he didn't write it at all. Like in that moment, if somebody had tripped and fell, he was gonna rap about that. There's no way that you could predict that. So I know he was doing it straight from his head, and that really amazed me, because that was the first time in my life that I ever saw somebody freestyle. Everything that I saw was always on pen and paper. That's the only thing that I've ever saw. I've never saw anybody just straight freestyle from the head. So, you know, that really amazed me. So after that happened, I go to my next period. You know, it's a new school day. Like, it's like the first day of school, to be honest. I go to the next period, and I didn't realize my homeboy Mike Hill, which is the one that was inside of the cafeteria freestyling in front of everybody, he was inside of my class after this happened. So I said, hey, you that one that was just freestyling, you had a big crowd, huh? And he was like, yeah, that's me. I do it for fun or whatever. He goes, nothing serious. I just like to have fun, and I think everybody be enjoying it. So I was like, yeah, man, I was listening. That stuff went hard. I was like, I like that. So we chopped it up. We got to know each other, and we would talk about all kind of music and stuff. And then, you know, we got so cool. Then he ended up coming over my house, and he was like, hey, you got any instrumentals or any beats or whatever? You know, whatever we called them back in the day, because I don't think we called them instrumentals back in the day. We didn't really know the correct name for it. Well, I was like, nah, I don't really have any beats. He goes, man, I just wanna start rapping, freestyling, because I know that you like that. And I was like, well, yeah, I freestyle too. And then he was like, you do? I was like, well, not freestyle. I said, I don't really freestyle, but I got pen and pad, and I got like a whole bunch of songs inside of a folder. I don't really know how to freestyle from the head, but I got songs written. He was like, for real you do? I was like, yeah. I was like, I can show you. He was like, all right, let me hear something. All right, so I had a tape player. I said, well, I got these songs, but I'm gonna have to rap over the people because I don't have any instrumentals. And he was like, all right. So I pulled out the folder. I had all kinds of songs in there. And I said, you just gonna have to ignore the people in the back. He was like, all right, cool. So I started rapping, and he was like, man, that goes hard. He goes, you wrote all that? He's like, how do you write so much? Every single song that I had was 4 pages long. I felt like every song that I made had to be 4 pages. I felt like it wasn't a complete song if it wasn't 4 pages. That's how I thought at the time. Now I just feel like that's silly, because songs shouldn't last that long. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I guess I was just passionate about it. Well, anyway, I told him, I said, well, how do you freestyle from the head like that? I said, you was just going off at the lunch table. I said, did you have that written? He's like, nope, I didn't have none of that written. I was like, man, let me put on another beat, and I want to hear something. So I threw something on for him. I said, of course we have to rap over the people's words because I don't have any instrumentals. All right. So he goes and he started rapping. He is going off, like I'm telling you. I'm like laughing, I'm cutting up. He's making fun of things. He's just going off. He's looking inside of my room and looking at all kind of posters on my wall and rapping about the posters on my wall. He's going off, just cracking jokes and all kinds of stuff. I was like, man, you got a sharp mind. I don't know how you do this, and then you don't even fall off or nothing. And he's like, man, you should try it. And I was like, I don't even know how to do this, man. I really don't. And he goes, just try it. I was like, all right, cool. So I put on another beat, and I tried it. Little did I know I could freestyle, because I went off. I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't expect it. I'm not bragging or nothing, but he'll tell you I straight went off. I didn't even know that I could freestyle because I never even tried it once inside of my life. You know, it was just crazy. So we had a good time that day, and he was amazed over it because he didn't even know. He was like, man, that was live. You know, we was crunk inside of the room. And also, me and him was both big fans of screw music at the time. But what we did was some ghetto stuff. It was straight ghetto. Well, he didn't know about it at first, but I told him about it. I had this old rinky-dink tape player, and you know, it was ripped off. Like the part that you opened to put the tape in, that part was ripped off, so you just could put the tape in and you could see everything. You could see the tape knob spinning and all that. You know how tapes was. But what I would do is I would press play, and then when it was playing, I would get my finger and I would put it on the spinning part of the tape, and it'd drag it, it'd slow it down, and I would record it like that. It was so ghetto, man. It was just straight ghetto. Nobody had did that. It was a ghetto way to like slow down music. And he would laugh. He'd be like, man, that's crazy. I ain't never seen nothing like that. I also had a way to chop it too. It was with rewind and fast forward. It was a certain way to do it. I can't remember because it was just so ghetto, but he'll tell you if you ever talk to him. For real, we did all kinds of stuff like that. Like, it was just crazy. It was just the ghettoest shit that you would ever see. But hey, at the time it worked. Well, what we did was we would just make these mixtapes and stuff like with screw music. Well, I wouldn't call it screw music because screw ain't do it, but you know what I mean. You get the point what I'm trying to say. Next day comes, we go to school. We go to school, and Mike Hill, he tell everybody in school that I know how to rap. Like, he's just bragging on it. He's not talking bad. He's not talking down. You know, he's being the true homie. Like, he's being honest. He's like, man, he goes hard, man. Like, for real. For you know what? I had a crowd of people asking me about it, and they like, can you do it? I was like, yeah, I'll do it for y'all. So I rapped something that I wrote, and also I freestyled. I did both, and it was crazy. Everybody was amazed. I felt great. I never had like that much attention like that before for something like that, you know. I felt great. I was like, man, that made me feel good. I kind of like this, because I always did love rapping from the start, you know what I mean? So we went back to class that one day, and then, you know, we were sitting there thinking, he's like, well, what do you call yourself on the mic? And I said, well, I call myself Don T. And he looked at me, he said, Don T? I was like, yeah. He said, well, what's the T stand for? And I pulled a Fred Sanford. I said, well, I don't know what the T stand for, but it could mean talented. And he busted out laughing. To be honest, I ain't know what the T stand for. The reason why I called myself Don T at the time was because I had a big brother, and his name was T-Bone. And that was his nickname. It always has been his nickname, but I looked up to my big brother, so T-Bone, Don T, that's the only reason why. So we were sitting there thinking, he's like, well, what do you like to do for fun? I said, I like to rap. I like to play around and shoot dice from time to time. He goes, man, he goes, in that room, you did some ghetto shit. He said you was screwing down some music. The way you screwed it down, that was ghetto, but it was tight. He goes, and your name start with a D. He said, why don't you do Ghetto D? Why can't that be your name? I think Ghetto D sound better than Don T. Ghetto D, aka the Dice Roller. And I got, you know, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I'm so used to Don T. And he's like, think about it, man, because I'm going to be honest with you, Don T kind of sounds silly. And I was like, man, I'm just used to it. Then I got to thinking, I'm like, man, he right. I do be doing some ghetto shit. And my name do start with a D. And I do like to roll dice. So I stuck with it. So if y'all want to know how I got my name, it was through my homeboy Mike Hill. Cause it kind of just stuck with me. And plus it sounded better when I said it on songs. I'd rather hear Ghetto D on the song than Don T any day. So after that happened, that was my name for then on. You know, it was just cold. Like after that, like everybody was feeling it for real. Like they were like, man, that boy Ghetto D, aka the Dice Roller, man, that boy doing his thing. Well, time go by again, and there's this dude. I heard there's this white dude, and he was talking about how cold he was, and I was like, man, that's good. I'm like, everybody was telling me about him. And then they were going back telling him how cold I was. For you know it, somebody started instigating, saying that I was talking about him. And then they was instigating, saying that he was talking about me. Saying that I said I was colder than him. Saying that he said he was colder than me. They was going back to us, telling us the same thing. So I was like, man, that dude ain't colder than me. You know, my pride had kicked in. His pride had kicked in. The same thing had happened. So they was like, man, like, we need to get these dudes to freestyle battle. So they was instigating because they wanted that to happen. And I was like, man, I'm down for whatever. I don't even care. I ain't never even been in a freestyle battle before, but I'll do it because my pride was big. That's just how it was. Well, at that time, we had a Macarena going on. Like it was like a Macarena thing. I don't know what it was. It was something special inside of school. It had something to do with Macarena. It was just crazy. I cannot remember what it was. But after that had happened, the Macarena thing, it was like a pepper rally after that. So okay, we went to the pepper rally, and after we went to the pepper rally, for some reason they played that damn Macarena song again. I don't know what it was with the Macarena, but I know I'll never forget it, and I know it happened. Well, I seen him and he seen me. We knew who he was. You know, me being me with my bad temper, I walked up full speed to him, and he walked up to me full speed, and I shit you not, we both said the same thing. We was like, I heard you say it. You know, that's how we both started our sentence off. I heard you say it. So we was like, hey man, you ain't colder than me. We was both saying that. So we was like, alright, well let's freestyle battle then. The Macarena beat was playing. I was laughing in my head because the Macarena beat was playing. We supposed to freestyle battle on this. He probably was laughing in his head too. As a matter of fact, he was, because he told me he was down the line, but our pride was so big we had a serious face and we were serious about this. We were going to battle on this Macarena beat. So we did battle on this Macarena beat. He started freestyling. He was going off. I'm not going to lie to you. He was going off. He was making fun of me, telling jokes and all kind of stuff, just trying to rag on me. So then my turn come. I'm going off. I'm making all kind of jokes on him. I'm ragging on him. I'm going off. You know, after that happened, the pepper rally was over, but man, we both had each other's respect. We had so much respect for each other that we didn't even we wasn't mad. We was like, man, I respect that dude. That dude went hard. We went so hard that we was sitting there, and to be honest, we both was like, man, do I really look like that? Cause we was sitting up there listening to every single thing that we was saying about each other, and we was like, damn, I hope I don't look like that. And it kind of messed with our mind. But you know, we respected each other so much that, man, for some reason we wanted to freestyle battle again. And I got a homeboy named Tedrick. He had showed me how to slow and chop music from the start. Like, he's the reason why I know how to slow and chop music now, because he taught me how. Tedrick Fillmore taught me how to slow and chop music. Well, anyway, I'm gonna get back onto the topic. I'll get to that later. You know what I mean? But Tedrick was cool. Tedrick was cool with this white dude. His name was White Mike. And he was like, hey, White Mike want to know if you want to go to his house. He's inviting you to his crib in Telfner. He want us to go over there so y'all can freestyle battle again. And I was like, alright, I'm down, this whatever. You know what I mean? We could do this again. You know, we can go ahead and just set this straight to see who won. So we went over there, and it was a lot of people over there. It was my homeboy, it was so many people. I'm sitting here trying to think, but I know he had a whole house full of people. So if somebody messed up, everybody was gonna be embarrassed. It was my homeboy Jesse, it was me, it was Tedrick, of course it was White Mike, even his dad was there, my homeboy Pumpy, R.I.P., rest in peace, you know what I mean? Everybody was there. So, you know, we was all there kicking it, having a good time. And we really didn't know how to break the ice to start like freestyling or whatever. Instead, we were just like chilling, having a good time. And my homeboy Pumpy was like, hey, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Are we going to do this freestyle thing or what? Because I'm trying to see something. And we all busted out laughing because Pumpy just didn't care. He just really didn't care. So we got down to it. We was like, all right, cool, let's do this. So we got it on tape. You know, we recorded it. The freestyle battle. He goes again first, and he goes off. He really does. He goes off on me. He said I look like the dude from Poetic Justice. The dude that was inside of that car, that pulled up inside of, I forgot what car it was. He pulled up in the car talking to Tupac, which is the same dude that I always get called that I look like, saying that I look like that dude. It's the same dude from Menace to Society or whatever. Or no, Boys in the Hood with the pacifier in his mouth, which is that same dude. Everybody always says I look like that dude. So I busted out laughing. I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't stop laughing at that line. Well, I go, and I say some crazy lines too, man. I did. We both said crazy lines. We went back and forth for a long time. And at one point in time, I was like, man, I feel like I'm getting it handed to me. I was like, nah, forget that. But then we was going back and forth. I was like, nah, I can't get handed. I'm like, nah, my pride too big, man. Forget that. So I've been freestyling so much that I hadn't got advanced, man, because I would do it every day. I pulled something out, man. I started rapping like Bone Thugs and Harmony and started dissing him like that and went for a long time. And he was like, man, I think you got that, man. He's like, man, we was keeping up at first till you pulled that shit. Now I don't even know, cause I can't do that. He goes, man, I respect you. You got that, man. He's like, for real. He goes, I don't even know what to say. I was like, man, we just call this a tie. And he's like, nah, I don't think it's no tie. When you pulled up that Bone Thugs and Harmony shit, that was it. And you know, we became like real cool after that, man. And to be honest, we eventually became rap partners, man. We became so close that we started up a little record label, man. And the reason why we started a record label, because we just clicked like that, man. Like, I didn't like to rap with nobody. That's just how I was. I just like to rap alone, but I did like to rap with White Mike. I feel like, man, that was my partner. We became best friends. And we were sitting up there trying to think about a record label name, and we was like, well, what can we call this? And we was listening to this Andre 3000 song, and I think he had a line like, I don't freestyle for free, or something. It was something he said, he don't freestyle for free. And then I don't style for free. I cannot remember the line, but we was like, man, style for free. We were like, styling free records. We both kind of thought of it, because we was thinking of that, and we came up with styling free records. To be honest, I feel like that's the corniest name ever to this day, but at the time, I feel like it was the dopest name. And we repped that styling free records like it was no tomorrow for a long time. And man, we got inside of the studio, inside of my room. Well, I wouldn't call it a studio at that time. It wasn't a studio. We had a tape player that we recorded from. And I had a whole folder full of rhymes. And I asked Mike, I said, hey, White Mike, you got anything written down or whatever, so we can go ahead and try to drop our first mixtape and pass it around in school and sell them? And he said, man, I don't got nothing written. And I was like, man, we got to get this done, because we want to drop a mixtape. I want everybody in school to hear this. And he was like, I tell you what, this is what he said. I shit you not, he goes, you get all your rhymes that you got, and you get all the beats that you got, go ahead and just press record. Press record and rap what you got on them beats. When your verse is done, hold your finger up when your verse is done on every single one of them. Just press play and don't even press stop. When your finger goes up after every verse that you do, I'll jump in and start freestyling. He goes, I won't fall off at all. He goes, I know you can do that without falling off at all, and I can do that too. He goes, just rap what you wrote, and I'll freestyle about the topics that you wrote. And trust me, it'll turn out. And I was like, man, you sure, Mike? He's like, I'm positive, just do it. I pressed play. I went ahead, I started rapping everything that I wrote, and he went on after me on every single song, didn't fall off at all. He went off like straight from the head through the whole tape. Sound like he wrote it. I was like, wow. We finished that whole tape inside of one day. A side and B side. We had no room left on the tape, like, at all. Like, it was just done. We passed it around in school and everybody was jamming it. You know, we was selling them for $5 a piece, and everybody was just getting them. We made a lot of money off them tapes. Them was tapes, man. Like, and that's crazy that we did that off of tapes. You know, then a couple of more years passed. This is when I actually got a studio. We started dropping CDs. You know, we dropped our first CD, to be honest, and that was very important to us, the very first CD, because we was like, nah, we ain't doing tapes no more, we straight CDs. So of course we sitting up there bragging and boasting about it. We was like, it was something new. We was like, yeah, we dropping music on CDs now. It was a big thing at the time. We finished that CD, and we passed that around school. They liked that one even more than the tape. We was like, man, we gotta keep doing this. Everybody was just like loving it. Everybody was loving it. And one thing, people was comparing us to Paul Wall and Chameleon now. And to be honest, I ain't gonna lie, I still hate that to this day, because I'm an artist that, I mean, I'm me. I'm not trying to be nobody else. He's an artist. He's him. He's not trying to be nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, we just us. But they was comparing us to Paul Wall and Chameleon there. I'm black, he's white. You know, it was just that thing. And I was like, nah, man. Like, we us. Well, years passed again, and we was dropping CDs after we graduated. Like, we dropped like so many CDs, and we had one coming out that we never really got to finish because everything got wiped out and erased on my computer. It caught a virus, man. It was just crazy. But we never really got to finish that CD. And a bad situation happened as well. White Mike ended up going to prison, you know, for 35 years. He still ain't out yet. He got a long way to go. Free my partner, White Mike. I love you, man. I ain't gonna forget you. You gonna always be my rap partner. For right now, I'm solo though. So I dropped the Stalin Free Records, and now I switched it to George Street Entertainment. George Street Entertainment is my street that I grew up on. Well, not George Street Entertainment, but George Street is the street that I grew up on, so I put George Street Entertainment as my record label. I'm solo, I'm by myself for the moment, but you know, I always did have my other group. My other group is 808. 808 Boss. That's me and my cousins. You know, like I said earlier, I grew up around my cousins watching them rap. We all formed a group, and we 808 Bosses. That's what we call ourselves. We always been there. 808 is my granny's address, so that's where we came up with the 808 Bosses, you know. When I'm with my group, I'm 808 Bosses. When I'm by myself, I'm George Street Entertainment. It's just always been that way. I had a CD that I made called 35 Years of Fate. The 35 Years of Fate was a whole CD dedicated to White Mike. Every single song wasn't about White Mike being inside a prison or nothing like that, but the whole CD was dedicated to him. Because when he got locked up, he said, one thing that I don't want you to do is stop rapping. I don't want you to do that, man, because I feel like you gonna make it, man. You got something. And I feel like you cold with it. I feel like you the coldest, and can't nobody tell me different. I just want you to write me and never stop rapping. That's one thing that I just want. I just don't ever want you to stop rapping, and please never stop writing me. And I respected that. To this day, I write White Mike. I talk to him, you know what I mean? I love him. That's my brother. My best friend, and always will be. You know what I mean? And this last CD that I just dropped is called, well, not the last CD, because I dropped a freestyle CD before this called, I think it was called Blue World Order. Yeah, that was a freestyle CD. Nothing but freestyles from my head. It jammed. But the actual mixtape that was written before that one was called Texas Black Sheep. I feel like that was a great mixtape. I put a lot of time inside of it. Not too many people heard it or listened to it. And the reason why I just don't think they really gave it a chance, because a lot of people listen to music and they listen to the first maybe 20 seconds and then cut it off. But I'm the type, you drop a CD and you tell me to listen to it, I'm gonna listen to it from beginning to end. But I really feel like y'all should go to YouTube and check that Texas Black Sheep out, man. You don't know what you're missing. It's 18 tracks. When I make CDs, I make sure it's like 18 songs. I don't like to drop CDs with like 7 tracks. That's not me. I want people to get an enjoyment out of it. I love making music, so I don't have a problem with making 18 tracks. But I really feel like y'all need to go ahead and check that Texas Black Sheep out. Now, the CD that I'm working on now is called 27 Years of Experience. And I named the CD that because, like I said, I started rapping at 5 years old, and I'm 32 years old now. So if you do the math, that's 27 years. So the reason why I'm making this CD is called 27 years of experience. You know, I'm dropping that CD real soon. I'm not done with it yet. It's in the process. I'm working on it. And you know, I really hope that y'all listen to this one, because I feel like nobody listened to Texas Black Sheep. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But if I'm right, then I'm right. But I just feel like nobody really listened to Texas Black Sheep or even really gave it a chance. And I just want to let y'all know I'm going to keep on pushing with this music stuff. I'm not done yet. I don't have a day that I'm going to retire. I feel like no one is never too old to make music. I don't care what type of music it is. Music don't really have an age to it to me if it's timeless. I just feel like no one is too old to make music. I love music. I'm never going to stop. And I'm going to keep mashing.